Should we just move on? Should we just forget about the past? Should we just act as if nothing happened? What do we do, black people? Because all what I've been seeing recently buzzing around is black people move on. It's been long. There's no more slavery. Your enslavers are gone. After all, just 2% of white folks own slaves. I just keep seeing a lot of bullshit on the internet that at the end of the day, sometime I drop to tears in my low keys. And do you know the saddest part? The saddest part is you see someone that is as black as I am taking to his podcast and saying a lot of things like black people don't deserve reparation. Why are we even talking about it? Do we need to make a fuse out of it? Can we just forget about it, make money and go our way? But anyways, I want you guys to watch this particular clip I have for you guys. I just have just one clip that I want you guys to watch. Credit belongs to the original creators of that particular clip I want to watch. And if this is the first time tuning in, subscribe, like, comment, and share. And please let me know your honest thoughts after watching this video. What do you think? Probably I might be wrong. Probably I might not be thinking straight. Maybe you have a better way for me to think. Let me know in the comment section. Let's watch this video and I'll be back with commentaries.
In 1969, something happened on the Mr. Rogers show that was really beautiful and powerful. In one scene, Fred Rogers invited a black character named Officer Clemens to cool off his feet in a small pool. The two men take off their shoes and soak their feet in the pool, and that's it. That's the entire scene. But this simple act was really radical during this time period. Because all across the country, white people refused to swim in the same public pools as black people. Many white people didn't want to use the same water as a black person because they believed in the racist idea that it was polluted by the very presence of black skin. If you go to a swimming pool in the United States this summer, I want you to take a moment to appreciate the fact that just a few decades ago, these spaces were at the forefront of the battle over American racism and segregation. For decades, public pools were for whites only, and when black people began trying to integrate these spaces in the 1950s and 60s, the backlash was swift and severe. Starting in the 1920s, the U.S. began building large public swimming pools across the country that could accommodate hundreds and even thousands of swimmers. But because of Jim Crow racism and segregation, black Americans were not allowed in these public spaces. During the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s, black activists began trying to integrate these public pools. They argued that black people had a right to enjoy these public facilities that they were helping to pay for with their tax dollars. That's why in 1958, 19-year-old David Isom went swimming in a whites-only pool in Florida to protest the exclusion of black swimmers. But as soon as he got out, the manager shut down the pool and ordered everyone to leave. He had the water drained and refilled because he said he had to purify it after it was tainted by black skin. This was a common reaction anytime a black person dared to enter a whites-only pool. In her amazing book, Caste, Isabel Wilkerson covers many of these stories. For example, in 1935, white people in Newton, Kansas went all the way to the state Supreme Court to keep black people out of their public pool. When someone suggested that the pool could be open for whites on certain days and blacks on other days, the white people shot that idea down. They said that they refused to swim in water that had touched black skin. They argued that it would be too time-consuming and expensive to drain the pool and refill it with water every time a black person had used it. A woman in Marion, Indiana, explained why whites refused to swim with black people, saying that they didn't want to be polluted by their blackness. Whenever black activists tried to break through the segregation laws and use these pools, the reaction was often violent and extreme. For example, in 1931, black people tried to swim in a new public pool that had just opened up in Pittsburgh. But when they got out of the water, a white mob began punching and kicking them and trying to drown them in order to get them to leave. When black people tried to use a new public pool in St. Louis in 1949, a white mob of thousands attacked them with knives, bricks, and bats. In the 1950s, when black swimmers said they were going to use a new pool in Cincinnati, white people dumped nails and broken glass into the water to keep them out. In this famous photograph from 1964, we see motel manager James Brock pouring acid into a pool to get black swimmers to leave. White people were so concerned about black skin polluting the purity of their swimming pools that they sometimes went to absurd lengths to uphold the segregation of these public spaces. For example, in 1951 in Youngstown, Ohio, a Little League baseball team went to the local pool to celebrate their victory in the city championship. When the boys ran to the pool, a lifeguard stopped 11-year-old Al Bright and told him he wasn't allowed to go in. Al Bright was the only black child on the team, and the lifeguard told him that the pool was for whites only. Instead of leaving and protesting this ridiculous policy, the coach decided to let the white children swim in the pool while Al Bright had to watch them have fun from behind a metal fence. The team's coach felt bad, and he eventually convinced the lifeguard to let Bright into the pool, but only under certain conditions. First, all of the white people had to exit the pool. Then Bright was told to get on top of a floating rubber raft, and the lifeguard would pull him around the pool for one lap. The lifeguard told Bright that the most important rule was that under no circumstance could any part of his body touch the water. While the lifeguard pulled Bright around the pool, he kept telling him, "Just don't touch the water. Whatever you do, don't touch the water." Because if he did, they would have to drain the pool and refill it with fresh water, because white people refused to let their bodies touch water that black people had been in. Needless to say, this was a traumatic experience for Al Bright that haunted him for the rest of his life. That day, he was made to feel like his skin was poisonous and had the power to pollute anything it touched, and that was exactly the point of segregation. White racists wanted black people to feel ashamed and inferior in their own skin. They wanted them to always feel like outsiders who could never fit into their white world. When the U.S. government ordered the integration of public spaces in the 1960s, white people refused to comply. Instead of opening their public pools to both white and black people, many cities decided to shut down their pools instead. Rather than keeping their public pools open for everyone to enjoy, white officials poured concrete into the pools and got rid of them for good. Heather McGhee covers this history in her book, The Sum of Us: What Racism Cost Everyone and How We Can Prosper Together. She tells the story of how one city in Alabama not only paved over their public pool rather than let black people swim there, but they closed down the entire Fair Oaks Park and even got rid of their public zoo. They felt like if these spaces couldn't remain open to whites only, then nobody would enjoy them, and this lasted until the 1970s. All across the country, cities shut down their public pools and paved them over to keep black people out. This is when white people began purchasing personal backyard pools and opening up private pools in gated communities that required a membership to enter. If you think that these stories of segregation and racism are ancient history, you'd be wrong. It was only 56 years ago, in 1969, when the Supreme Court finally ruled that public pools could not discriminate based on race. And we continue to see black people face violence and discrimination in public spaces that were once reserved for whites only. For example, in 2015, police received a call that black teenagers were trespassing at a pool party in a predominantly white gated community in Texas. When police responded, an officer was videotaped violently restraining a 15-year-old black girl on the ground. Then he drew his weapon when other black teenagers came to her aid. That officer resigned, but a grand jury refused to bring charges against him. When this happened, it was clear to anyone who watched the video that if that teenager had been white, she would have never been handled this way. She was only brutalized because of the color of her skin and the long history of American racism. It wasn't that long ago when black Americans were not even allowed to step into a public pool. It took a lot of brave men and women to break down these segregation laws that banned them from these public spaces. One of those people was Fred Rogers, who showed how to use your platform to fight back against hate. And I wish more people would learn from his actions today.
Welcome back, guys, and I hope you guys have seen all of that particular clip. Black people move on. Yeah, these are some of the things they want us to move on. Because, I keep saying it. These things are not just happening back in those days and then they are not happening now again. I feel like a lot of black people would have moved on by now. Maybe you guys did not get what I said. Let me recap. I said, if what is happening currently is not what has happened before, that is still trending, keep happening every day on different stages, you're seeing them. I think by now we wouldn't have, or there wouldn't have be any need of reminding black people to move on. Black people will have literally just moved on. Black people would have literally just find something else to do. Black people will have literally find something else to say or something else to talk about. Wouldn't have been in this issue of reparation, Jim Crow, segregation, and so on and so forth. Because as it stands now, every single thing that this man said about this segregation is still happening in this present day. There is still segregation. I did a video, I think a video I uploaded before this one or after this one, where you literally see this lady coming to approach this woman because there are black kids in the pool. And when I saw this clip, I was like, Jesus, yeah. And I see reasons why they want black people to move on really fast. Why they want black people to just forget about everything that happened while it is still happening. While it is still coming on daily basis. While on daily basis, you still have to deal with one idiot or the other. While on daily basis, you still have to deal with one grandpa trying to ask you, why are you in this neighborhood? You do not belong here. Black people move on. Yes, they should move on and keep swallowing every single stone that has been thrown to them. In this modern days, in this 21st century, the only thing that will make black people move on is when there is equality. And of which I don't see that coming. I don't see that coming because the racism blood inside of them is from the top. Like I said in one of the video I uploaded last week, it started from the grassroots. Then they absorb it and pass it on to generations. And then they tell them, run with this, move with it, do not look back, do not answer. This is what is meant to be. They are meant to worship you, they are meant to be under you. In fact, they are meant to be calling you sir and ma. They are meant to be doing this, they are meant to be doing that. But when we wake up, we see black people move on. It's more painful, like I said from the first part of this video, seeing same black folks that know what this is all about. Because it's not like they don't know what this is all about. They know what every bit of this is all about. But it's more painful to just see them ignore every single thing that is happening, all in the name of moving on, all in the name of trying to get an audience, all in the name of trying to get a podcast, all in the name of trying to build a community. It's more painful. It's more painful. And one thing I keep saying is if these people are literally in our shoe, if there were three in our shoe, I don't think they would have been able to move on. The only thing that they would have done is to keep fighting, keep talking, keep until they achieve what they want. But when it comes to black people, everybody wants us to move on. It's sad. And that is why when I see few of these white men that know the truth and they are rooting out the truth, honestly, I like their videos. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to the original creator of this clip I actually inserted in this today's episode. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And with no further ado, I'm going to say, man, I'll see you guys in my next one. And I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, subscribing, dropping commentaries. You guys are the best. I do not take you guys for granted. And I really do appreciate all of that effort you're putting through. But let me know, as a black person especially, do we just move on? Do we just forget about the past? Should we just act as if nothing happened? What do we really do as black people? I just want to know. Once again, bye for now. I love you guys. Mwah.